Hello people, this is Bob from Kharischangeworks. I hope you are well. I'm going to make a new playlist on trust. So it's going to be called the Trust Series. It is something that I believe is crucial in today's society. You see, trust is brittle. And with brittle comes vulnerable. So when you look at those two things, it's really, really important to respect where the other person is coming from. You don't know why they behave in the way that they do. So when you are trying to generate an attitude or a behavior of trust, it is so easy to break that trust. All you've got to do is just say one thing that might trigger something in that person's past, and it's game over. And let's have a look as what I found, and let's see what we can do to help people build trust. Now, it is important to understand that these are just opinions, but I think that they are good starting points for us to learn how to build trust and not destroy this thing called trust. And my personal experience is I don't trust people because I've been hurt that many times by people who claim to have loved me, or they're my friends, or they're there to help me, and all you get is being stabbed in the back all the time. So my safety mechanism by default is I don't trust. And when people say things, and I'm going to go through these things, when they say things and then you find out later that it's not true, it doesn't really help. A lot of distrust going on, but there's a lot of reasons behind it, and people don't care so much about the reasons. They would rather blame you for not trusting, but they take zero time to understand the reasons why. And if people were a little bit more concerned about others, then they would work a little bit harder, as far as I am concerned, on this very, very brittle topic called trust. So let's have a look. Now, these are just pointers. So let's have a look and see what they say. Number one is say what you mean and mean what you say. That is an assertive comment. It's an assertive principle. Now, there's a big difference between being assertive and being aggressive. And then there's a fine line between being assertive and being a walkover. Now, when it comes down to trust, that principle there, say what you mean and mean what you say, is vitally important. You see, this is how it works, at least in my opinion. When you say what you mean and you mean what you say, the other person, the recipient of it, if they have any respect, if they have any courtesy, then they would respect and be courteous to you because they know that what you're saying is that what you mean, and you mean exactly what you say. The problem comes in a lot of people, and I'm guilty in this, particularly in the past, where I used to say things in the hopes that I would be liked. Reason? Abuse. The thing now for me is I now say what I mean, and I certainly mean what I say. And if people don't like it, it's not my problem. It's theirs. When you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and other people find out, or the recipient of the information that you then give out, so there's person B, so to speak, when they start pointing out the inconsistencies, the contradictions in what you say, all it does is it's like that vase that once it's broken, even though you might patch it together kinda, it's not going to look right and it's not going to do its job right, because the trust is like the vase that once it's broken, very difficult to repair. So what's the solution? Number one is when you've got a relationship of some sort, it doesn't matter whether it be romantic, platonic or business, it doesn't make a scrap of difference. when you start the relationship or with said individual, establish for yourself the guidelines and the principles, the boundaries of say what you mean and mean what you say. How you do that is another story. But if you come from the point of view of I'm going to be open and honest and transparent, yes, you will become vulnerable. Because there are people out there, these wolves that will come in and they will exploit that. But you will be able to keep your head up high, saying, at least I'm not a liar. At least I'm not someone that deceives. That's another issue. When you say what you're going to do it. When people say what they're going to do, now my default is pause. You might be lying, particularly if you don't know the person that well. However, when they do prove that they say they're going to do what they say, then it kind of builds the trust up ever so slightly. And then eventually it's built up and built up and built up and built up, and then the trust foundation of the relationship is established. But it starts off with a heart attitude. It starts with a mindset. And it starts off with an attitude that says, I respect the other person enough to do as I say and say as I do. I think that is a good starting place for us to say, how do we build trust? How do we establish it? Simply by being honest. Now, yes, I can hear you in the background saying, it's easier said than done. I know. Is it worthwhile? Well, I think it is. Because at the end of the day, you've got to start somewhere. You're not an island where you can just be on your own all the time. You need people around about you. But it's those genuine few, and I emphasize the word few, who makes the relationships worthwhile. However, the rogues of this life, they're the ones who spoil it for everybody else. And it's a sad thing that the world is full of said rogues. So that's my starting point for us on this particular playlist. Trust starts with you being open and honest and transparent with a mindset of respect, courtesy. I'll even go as far as to say dignity towards yourself and dignity towards others, in the sense of wanting to protect the relationship and the interaction between you and them, regardless of what's being discussed. It's a big thing, trust. It's a very brittle thing. And like I said, it's like that vase. And once it's broken, yes, you can put them together nicely and super glue them, and it might look okay. But the slightest thing will shatter it up again. So, let's become more honest in today's society. Now, I'm purely speaking from a me towards you and you towards me. It's this person A, person B relationship. But we haven't considered the relationship that we have with ourselves. Are you open and honest with yourself? Do you trust yourself? That's another story, isn't it? When it comes down to spiritual matters, do you trust your spiritual guide, whoever they might be? Doesn't matter whether it be Jesus or whether it be Allah or whether it be Krishna or whatever else they might be as far as your religious idol is concerned. Do you trust them? And what gives you the belief, what's the criteria for that trust to have been established in the first place? We all need experience in this whole process of building trust. But my encouragement and my plea for you today is simple. Please do not break people's trust. it is a very difficult thing to get back. It's hard to gain in the first place. But when you break it, in my eyes, it's game over. Now, how do we go about building trust? Like I said, there's going to be a series of a number of videos where I'm going to talk about different components. So I hope you've enjoyed this sort of kick-off one. And then whatever you think, let us know in the comments box, please. Like I said right at the beginning, please do all the YouTube admin. But for now, this is Mark from Kharischangeworks. I'll speak to you soon.